Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the storm clouds gather, when the winds howl and the waves rise higher than we ever imagined. Some of you today are walking through a storm. Maybe it's a storm of sickness, of financial struggle, of broken relationships, of fear, of uncertainty. You've done everything you can to stand, but the winds of life keep knocking you down. But I have come to tell you there is hope in the storm. Hope is not in the absence of storms, but in the presence of one who walks with us through them. Hope is not found in the strength of men, but in the power of something greater than this world. Hope is not the denial of trouble, but the assurance that trouble does not have the final say. You see, throughout history, men and women have faced storms. Nations have trembled under the weight of uncertainty. Families have been torn apart, hearts have been broken, and yet those who held on to hope, real, unshakable, immovable hope, found that no storm was greater than the one who carried them through. Some of you today feel like you are sinking. You're overwhelmed by fear, by grief, by failure. But listen to me. This storm will not define you. This storm will not destroy you. This storm will not be the end of your story, because beyond the dark clouds, the sun still shines. Beyond the crashing waves, there is solid ground, and beyond your pain, there is a purpose. When the storm rages, do not give in to fear. When the winds blow, do not surrender to doubt. When it feels like all hope is lost, lift up your eyes. Help is coming. Strength is rising. A new day is dawning. The storms of life may shake you, but they cannot break you if your hope is anchored in something greater. So stand firm, hold on, keep believing, because the storm will pass, but hope will remain. And my friend, hope will carry you through. Hope is not the absence of storms, but the presence of strength to endure them. Life is filled with trials, hardships, and unexpected difficulties. No one is exempt from facing storms, whether they come in the form of financial struggles, health battles, personal loss, or deep disappointments. It is easy to believe that hope means avoiding these storms altogether, that somehow if we are strong enough, wise enough, or lucky enough, we can escape the troubles of life. But the truth is, storms come to everyone. The difference is not in who faces them, but in who overcomes them. Some believe that if life is difficult, then hope must be absent. They look at the turbulence surrounding them and conclude that all is lost. But hope is not a shield that keeps storms away. It is the anchor that holds us firm in the middle of them. It is not the promise that the winds won't blow, but the assurance that we will not be swept away. Real hope does not depend on external circumstances. It does not rise and fall with the changing seasons of life. It is steadfast, unshakable, and unbreakable. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. The job you counted on suddenly disappears. The people you trusted walk away. The future you dreamed of shatters before your eyes. In those moments, it is easy to feel abandoned, forsaken, and forgotten. It is easy to question whether there is any purpose in the pain, any meaning in the suffering. But hope whispers in the darkness that this is not the end. It reminds us that even the fiercest storms eventually pass, that even the longest nights must give way to the dawn. Strength does not come from avoiding hardship. It is forged in the very fire of adversity. A tree does not grow strong in calm weather. It grows strong because the wind forces its roots to go deeper. The storms push it to become sturdier, and the challenges make it resilient. In the same way, the trials we face are not meant to destroy us, but to shape us, to refine us, and to make us stronger than we ever thought possible. There are times when the storm is so fierce that we feel we cannot take another step. The weight of it presses down on us, making every movement seem impossible. We look at the horizon, searching for a break in the clouds, but all we see is more darkness. That is when hope becomes more than just a feeling. It becomes a choice. It is the choice to stand firm when everything around us is shaking. It is the choice to keep going when every voice says to give up. It is the choice to believe in something greater than the storm, something that cannot be shaken by the winds or drowned by the waves. History is filled with stories of those who faced unimaginable trials and yet endured because of hope. Great leaders, innovators, and pioneers did not succeed because they never faced hardship. They succeeded because they refused to let hardship define them. They were knocked down but got back up. They faced opposition but did not surrender. They encountered failure but did not let it be the final word. Hope was their strength, their fuel, their anchor. Many people think of hope as a passive thing, a vague wish that things might get better. But true hope is active. It is not simply wishing for change, it is believing that change is possible and acting accordingly. It is refusing to let the storm dictate our actions. It is choosing to get up, to press forward, to fight even when the battle seems unwinnable. There will always be obstacles in life. The road ahead will not always be smooth. But if we measure hope by the absence of problems, we will always be disappointed. The real test is not whether we face storms, but whether we endure them. The presence of hardship does not mean the absence of hope. It is in those very moments of struggle that hope shines the brightest. It is in the fiercest battles that strength is revealed. It is in the darkest nights that the smallest light becomes a beacon. Some people look at their lives and see only failure. They see only the mistakes, the missed opportunities, the broken pieces. They assume that because things have not gone as planned, there is no hope for the future. But hope does not come from a perfect past. It does not come from an unblemished record. It comes from the belief that no matter how many times we fall, we can rise again. It comes from the understanding that our story is not finished, that even in the middle of the storm, there is still a way forward. Storms test us. They push us to our limits. They strip away the illusions of control and force us to see what truly matters. But they also reveal the depth of our strength, the power of our perseverance, and the resilience of our spirit. No one wants to walk through hardship. But often, it is in those very moments that we discover what we are truly made of. Hope does not mean the road will be easy. It does not mean there won't be moments of doubt, of fear, of exhaustion. But it does mean that we do not have to be defined by those moments. It means that even when everything around us says to give up, we choose to press on. It means that even when the storm rages, we refuse to let it steal our belief in a better tomorrow. The strength to endure is not something we find in ourselves alone. It is something we receive, something that is cultivated through every challenge, every setback, every struggle. The storms of life will come, but they do not have to destroy us. They do not have to defeat us. They do not have to take away our hope, because hope is not in the absence of storms, but in the presence of strength to endure them. The storm may shake you, but it cannot break you if your hope is anchored. Life has a way of bringing unexpected turbulence. One moment everything seems calm, steady, and predictable, and the next the winds begin to howl, the sky darkens, and the waves crash all around. It does not matter how strong a person may appear on the outside, storms will come, and they will test everything within. Some storms come suddenly without warning. A single phone call, a moment of betrayal, a loss that cuts deep. Others build up over time, a slow erosion of stability, a gradual fading of joy, a creeping sense of helplessness. Many believe that strength is about never being shaken, but that is not true. Everyone will face moments that shake them to their core, moments where the weight of life presses down so heavily that it feels impossible to stand. But being shaken is not the same as being broken. Being knocked down is not the same as being defeated. The difference between those who crumble and those who overcome is not the absence of hardship, but the presence of an anchor. When the storm rages, when the winds howl, when everything seems to be falling apart, the person who is anchored will not be destroyed. They may feel the force of the storm, but they will remain standing when it passes. An anchor is what holds something firm despite the chaos around it. It keeps a ship steady in the midst of raging waters. It secures it so that no matter how strong the waves are, it does not drift away. Without an anchor, a ship is at the mercy of the storm, tossed in every direction, pushed wherever the winds decide. But with an anchor, it may sway, it may tilt, it may even take on water, but it will not be lost. This is the power of having something greater than the storm to hold on to. There are many who place their hope in things that do not hold. They anchor themselves to money, believing that wealth will protect them from life's troubles. But when financial storms come, they find themselves adrift. lost without direction. Others anchor themselves to relationships, believing that as long as they have certain people by their side, they will be secure. But when those people fail them or walk away, they find themselves shattered, unable to stand. Some anchor themselves to success, to achievements, to reputation. But when the winds of life change and the applause fades, they feel empty, unmoored, lost. A true anchor is something that does not move, something that does not change when circumstances shift. It is something that holds firm no matter how fierce the storm becomes. It does not promise that the storm will not come, but it ensures that the storm will not win. History is filled with stories of those who faced unthinkable storms, yet stood firm because they were anchored. Men and women who lost everything, who faced rejection, persecution, failure, yet refused to give up. They were shaken, but they were not broken. The world tried to crush them, but they endured, not because they were stronger than everyone else, not because they had more resources or more power, but because their hope was in something unshakable. The difference between someone who crumbles and someone who overcomes is not found in the size of the storm they face, but in the strength of the anchor they hold on to. Some people seem to have everything in their favor, yet when difficulty comes, they collapse. Others have faced more trials than anyone should ever have to endure, yet they remain steadfast. The reason is simple. One was anchored and the other was not. Strength is not about avoiding storms, it is about enduring them. It is about standing in the face of the wind and refusing to let it push you under. It is about holding on to something that cannot be shaken, something that will not let you go, no matter how fierce the storm becomes. The storm will come. It will test every part of you. It will challenge everything you believe. It will shake everything that is not firmly secured. But if you are anchored, you will not be broken. Life has a way of testing the foundation on which people stand. It does not matter how beautiful a building looks on the outside if its foundation is weak. When the storm comes, when the earth shakes, when the winds blow, only those buildings that are built on a firm foundation will remain standing. The same is true in life. If a person's foundation is built on things that shift, things that fade, things that do not last, they will not endure the storm. But if their foundation is built on something immovable, they will remain, no matter how fierce the storm may be. People often assume that those who endure storms without breaking must have an easier life, that they must have been spared the worst of the battle. But often the ones who are the strongest, the ones who refuse to be defeated, are the ones who have faced the hardest trials. They are the ones who have walked through fire, who have stood in the face of storms that should have destroyed them, yet they held on. They refused to let go of their anchor, and because of that they endured. Endurance is not about pretending the storm does not hurt. It is not about acting as if the waves are not real. It is about knowing that even in the midst of the storm you are held, that even when the winds rage you are secure, that even when everything around you is shaking you will not fall. The storm may shake you. It may push you to your limits. It may make you question everything you thought you knew, but it does not have the power to break you. Not if your hope is anchored. It does not have the power to steal your future, to erase your purpose, to take away your strength. Because when you are anchored, you are not at the mercy of the storm. You may feel its force, but you will not be overcome. You may be pressed, but you will not be crushed. You may be shaken, but you will not be broken. Beyond the dark clouds, the sun still shines. This storm is not the end of your story. Life is filled with seasons, some bright and full of joy, others dark and heavy with uncertainty. There are moments when the weight of life feels unbearable, when the storm is so fierce that it becomes hard to see anything beyond the turmoil. The sky turns black, the wind howls, and it feels like everything is falling apart. In those moments, it is easy to believe that the darkness will never lift, that the storm will never pass, that the pain will never end. But no matter how strong the storm, no matter how heavy the clouds, the sun still shines above it all. Storms have a way of distorting vision. They make it seem like the darkness is all there is, like the light has been swallowed up. like there is no way forward. Fear whispers that this moment of struggle will last forever. Despair tries to convince the heart that there is no escape, no hope, no future beyond the storm. But storms are never permanent. No storm in history has lasted forever. No matter how fierce the winds, no matter how relentless the rain, no matter how violent the thunder, every storm eventually passes. The sky clears, the sun reappears, and the world breathes again. The challenge is to hold on in the middle of the storm, to refuse to let the darkness convince you that there is no light beyond it. It takes strength to stand when everything inside is telling you to give up. It takes courage to believe in the sun when all you can see are the clouds. It takes faith to trust that the storm will not last forever, even when it feels endless. But those who endure, those who refuse to let the storm define their future, are the ones who step into the light when the skies finally clear. It is easy to forget that the sun has not disappeared just because it is hidden by the clouds. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it is gone. The light has not been extinguished. It is still shining, still present, still waiting to break through. The storm only has the power that you give it. It can rage, it can shake, it can test your limits, but it cannot erase the light. It cannot steal your future. It cannot take away the hope that lies beyond it. So many people give up too soon. They believe the storm is all there is. They allow the temporary darkness to convince them that their entire story has been rewritten by hardship. But the storm is just a chapter, not the whole book. Is a moment in time, not the end of the journey. If you stop in the middle of the storm, you will never see the beauty that comes after it. You will never witness the renewal, the restoration, the strength that grows from surviving the storm. Strength is not found in avoiding storms, but in overcoming them. Every person who has ever done something great, every individual who has ever made a lasting impact has faced storm. They have walked through fire, endured trials, and pressed on when everything seemed against them. The difference between those who succeed and those who surrender is not the absence of storms, but the determination to keep moving forward despite them. Pain has a way of making time feel frozen. When you are in the middle of suffering, it feels as though the moment will never end. It stretches on, making every second feel heavier than the last. But time does not stop. The world does not pause. The storm keeps moving. The clouds shift. The wind eventually dies down. And when the storm passes, the air is fresh. The sky is clear. And what was once raging chaos is now a memory. Perspective is everything. If you allow the storm to consume your vision, you will believe that darkness is all there is. But if you lift your eyes beyond the clouds, if you remind yourself that the sun is still shining, you will find the strength to endure. You will find the hope to press on. You will find the courage to keep walking forward, because the storm is not the end of your story. It is simply a part of it. Some of the most beautiful moments in life come after the storm has passed. The world is washed clean. The air is crisp and full of life. The flowers bloom. The rivers flow with new strength. In the same way, the greatest breakthroughs often come after the hardest battles. The most profound growth happens in the aftermath of struggle. The deepest wisdom is born from the lessons learned in the storm. Many people spend their lives running from storms, trying to avoid difficulty, trying to escape hardship. But storms are a part of life. Running does not stop them from coming. It only delays the inevitable. The strongest people are not those who have never faced a storm, but those who have faced them and come out stronger on the other side. They have learned that storms do not last forever. They have discovered that even in the darkest moments, the light is never truly gone. Hope is the key to endurance. It is the quiet whisper that says, keep going. This is not the end. It is the reminder that no matter how fierce the battle, victory is still possible. It is the truth that no storm has the power to erase the future. Hope is what keeps the heart alive when everything else is falling apart. It is the anchor that holds firm when the waves threaten to pull you under. Not every storm is the same. Some pass quickly, leaving only a brief memory of their presence. Others linger, stretching on longer than expected, testing patience, testing endurance, testing faith. But no matter how long the storm lasts, the principle remains the same. Beyond the clouds, the sun still shines. Beyond the chaos, peace still exists. Beyond the pain, healing is waiting. Storms can break things, but they can also reveal strength. They can shake foundations, but they can also expose what is truly solid. They can bring fear, but they can also birth resilience. Those who face storms head on, who refuse to let them dictate their future, who press forward with hope, are the ones who emerge stronger than before. They are the ones who prove that darkness does not win, that hardship does not define, that storms do not write the final chapter. The most powerful thing you can do in the middle of the storm is refuse to give up. Refuse to let it steal your hope. Refuse to let it convince you that this moment is permanent, because no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how heavy the clouds, no matter how dark the night, beyond it all, the sun still shines. And this storm is not the end of your story. Fear whispers that the storm will drown you, but hope declares you will rise above it. Fear has a way of creeping in when the winds pick up and the waves begin to crash. It does not announce itself loudly at first. It starts as a quiet voice, a subtle doubt, a fleeting thought that maybe this storm is too much to handle. Then it grows. It feeds on uncertainty, on the unknown, on the overwhelming feeling that everything is spiraling out of control. It tells you that the waves are too high, that the wind is too strong, that you are not strong enough to survive what is coming. Fear is loud. It drowns out reason, silences peace, and replaces confidence with doubt. It makes you feel smaller than the storm, weaker than the winds, more fragile than the rising tide. It tells you that there is no way out, that this is the moment you will sink, that this time there is no rescue. Fear thrives in the chaos, in the confusion, in the darkness where vision is blurred and all you can see is the danger ahead. But hope speaks a different language. Where fear shouts that the storm will drown you, hope calmly declares that you will rise above it. Where fear magnifies the storm, making it seem bigger than life itself, hope lifts your eyes above the waves, reminding you that there is something greater. Where fear paralyzes, keeping you stuck, unable to move, unable to breathe, unable to fight, hope strengthens your resolve, filling you with the courage to take the next step. Fear is a liar. It twists reality, making the storm appear all powerful, as if it holds the final say over your future. It tells you that you are alone, that no one sees your struggle, that no one cares. It convinces you that you are helpless, powerless, already defeated. But hope reveals the truth. It reminds you that no storm lasts forever, that no wave can rise higher than the strength within you, that no wind can steal your purpose. Storms have a way of testing what you believe. It is easy to be strong when the skies are clear and the sea is calm. It is easy to speak of faith when the path ahead is smooth. But when the storm comes, when the winds howl, when the rain falls in relentless sheets, that is when true strength is revealed. That is when the choice must be made. Will you listen to fear or will you hold on to hope? Some of the greatest victories in life come not from avoiding the storm, but from walking through it and refusing to be overcome. The strongest people are not those who have never faced hardship, but those who have faced it and endured. They have stood in the wind, felt the force of the waves, heard the whispers of fear telling them they would drown, and they chose to rise above it. They chose to trust that the storm did not have the final word. Fear will try to convince you that you are not strong enough to survive. It will remind you of every past failure, every moment of weakness, every reason why this storm is too much for you. But hope looks at the same storm and says, you are stronger than you know. You have more inside you than you realize. You have faced battles before and you are still standing. You will not be defeated. The greatest breakthroughs often come right after the fiercest storms. The moments of transformation, of clarity, of unexpected strength do not come when everything is easy. They come when you have faced what seemed impossible and overcome it. They come when you have walked through the fire and emerged stronger. They come when you have felt fear pressing in on all sides but refuse to bow to it. Fear may be loud, but it is not the truth. It does not see the whole picture. It only sees the waves, the danger, the struggle. It does not see what is beyond the storm. It does not see the growth, the victory, the renewed strength that comes from enduring. It does not see the way the storm will shape you, refine you, make you into something stronger than before. When fear tells you to run, hope tells you to stand firm. When fear tells you to give up, hope tells you to press on. When fear says you are finished, hope reminds you that your story is not over. Hope is not blind to the storm. It sees it clearly. But it also sees what is beyond the storm. It sees the purpose in the pain, the strength in the struggle, the promise that there is still life beyond this moment. There will be times when the storm feels endless, when every step forward is met with resistance, when exhaustion sets in, and the temptation to give in feels overwhelming. That is when hope must be louder than fear. That is when you must hold on, not because you have all the answers, not because you can see the way out, but because you refuse to believe that the storm is stronger than you. Hope is not just a feeling, it is a decision. It is the choice to believe that even in the darkness, light still exists. It is the choice to take one more step when everything inside you is screaming to stop. It is the choice to trust that no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how strong the wind, no matter how high the waves, you are not meant to drown, you are meant to rise above it. Fear may try to convince you otherwise, but fear has never built anything, never created anything, never rescued anyone. It only destroys. Hope, on the other hand, builds, it lifts, it strengthens, it reminds you of what is possible. And when you hold on to it, when you refuse to let the storm drown you in fear, you will discover that you are stronger than you ever imagined. You will find that even in the fiercest battle, you are not alone. You will realize that this storm, no matter how great, does not define you. The storm may come, the waves may rise, the wind may howl, but fear does not have to win. It does not have to steal your strength, your purpose, your hope. Because no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how loud the voices of doubt, no matter how overwhelming the moment may seem, hope still stands. Hope still speaks. Hope still declares the truth that you are not meant to be overcome. You are meant to rise. Scars from the storm are not signs of defeat, but reminders of survival. Life has a way of leaving its marks on us. Every battle we fight, every struggle we endure, every storm we face, it all leaves something behind. Some wounds heal quickly, barely noticeable after a short time, while others cut deeper, leaving lasting scars. These scars tell a story. They are evidence of the storms that tried to break us, the battles that tried to defeat us, the moments when it felt like we had nothing left to give, but we made it through. They are reminders not of weakness, but of resilience, not of loss, but of survival. There is a tendency to hide scars, to see them as flaws, as proof of pain, as something to be ashamed of. But scars are not signs of failure. They are proof that we endured. They are proof that the storm did not win. They are reminders that even in the darkest moments, we found the strength to keep going. They show that the pain was real, but so was the healing. They are not marks of brokenness, but of restoration. Storms have a way of changing us. No one walks through a storm and comes out the same. The winds reshape us. The rain washes away what was weak. The struggle forces us to grow. And sometimes, in the process, we are left with scars, visible or invisible, that serve as permanent reminders of what we have faced. But the presence of a scar does not mean we are still wounded. It means we have healed. It means we have moved beyond the pain, beyond the battle, beyond the storm. It means that what once hurt us no longer holds power over us. There is strength in scars. They are not just marks of survival. They are lessons, memories, testimonies of what we have overcome. They remind us that we are stronger than we thought, that we endured more than we believed we could. They remind us that even when the storm felt overwhelming, even when it seemed like there was no way forward, we did not give up. We pressed on, we fought through, we came out on the other side. Pain has a way of making us feel alone, as though no one else could understand what we have been through. But scars tell a different story. They connect us to others who have also faced storms, others who have also walked through the fire and emerged changed. They remind us that struggle is universal, that hardship is part of the human experience, that we are not the only ones who have had to fight for survival. They become bridges, connecting us to those who need to hear that they too can overcome. Many people try to erase their scars, to pretend the storm never happened, to act as though they were never broken, never wounded, never shaken. But scars are not something to be erased. They are something to be embraced. They are not signs of shame, but of strength. They are proof that what was meant to destroy us did not succeed. They are reminders that the storm did not have the final say. Scars are often seen as imperfections, as things that make us less whole, less worthy, less strong. But what if they are actually the opposite? What if scars are the very things that make us stronger, that give us wisdom, that remind us of the depth of our resilience? What if the things we once saw as weaknesses are actually the greatest evidence of our survival? Every scar has a story. Some are stories of battles that nearly broke us, of storms that threatened to consume us, of moments when hope seemed distant. Others are stories of victory, of perseverance, of overcoming the impossible. Each scar is a reminder that pain is temporary, that healing is possible, that the storm does not last forever. They tell us that even in the moments when we felt like giving up, something inside us refused to surrender. There is beauty in scars, not because of the pain they represent, but because of what they prove. They prove that healing is real, that strength can be found in suffering, that even the worst storms do not last forever. They remind us of the times we thought we would not make it, only to find that we did. They show us how far we have come, how much we have grown, how much we have endured. Too often, people try to hide their scars, afraid of what others might think, afraid of being judged, afraid of being seen as weak. But the strongest people are not those who have never faced hardship. They are the ones who have faced it and come out on the other side, carrying their scars as reminders of their victory. They are the ones who have learned that scars do not make them less, they make them more. They do not make them broken, they make them whole. Some of the most powerful stories in history are not those of people who lived easy, pain-free lives, but of those who walked through storms and refused to be destroyed. Their scars became their testimony, their evidence that hardship did not define them, that they were stronger than the forces against them. Their scars became their strength, their message, their proof that storms are temporary, but resilience is forever. When we look at our scars, we have a choice. We can see them as reminders of pain, as evidence of the battles we wish we could forget, or we can see them as symbols of victory, as proof that we endured, as marks of a life fully lived. We can choose to hide them, to be ashamed of them, or we can choose to wear them as a badge of honor, knowing that they tell a story of survival. Healing is a process. It does not always happen overnight. Some wounds take time to close. Some storms take time to pass. But healing does happen. The pain does not last forever. The wounds that once felt unbearable eventually become scars, no longer open, no longer bleeding, no longer raw. And in time, those scars become reminders not of the suffering, but of the strength it took to overcome it. Scars are a part of life. They tell us where we have been, but they do not define where we are going. They are part of our story, but they are not the whole story. They are proof that we have faced storms and survived, that we have walked through darkness and found the light again. They are not marks of brokenness, but of healing. The next time you see a scar, whether on your body or in your heart, remember what it truly represents. It is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It is not a reminder of pain, but of perseverance. It is not something to be hidden, but something to be embraced. Because scars do not mean we were defeated. They mean we survived.